Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Radale Bonneville, and I'm the last president of the class of 2013. I would like to welcome you all to our 87th commencement ceremony for Creston High School. At this time, will everyone stand for the presenting of the colors by Creston's JROTC and the national anthem in the alma mater performed by the Jewel Tones. Gentlemen, please remove your hats and graduation caps at this time, too.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? In Michigan there stands a school whose honor we hold dear, whose banners will forever fly both far away and near. Your blue and gold will ever be symbolic of our loyalty. Oh, Creston High, you'll always be our alma mater. Hail to thee.
Thank you to our JROTC and to the Jewel Tones for singing our national anthem and alma mater. At this time, I would like to introduce our superintendent, a Creston graduate herself, Ms. Teresa Retherwall-Neal.
Good afternoon. I would like to, first of all, thank you for allowing me to even represent you as your superintendent. It is really a pleasure to say goodbye to the last graduating class of Creston High School 2013. Once a polar bear, you're always a polar bear. I'm a 1977 1977 graduate of Creston High School, truly a polar bear. So this is really bittersweet for me. Before I start, I would like to introduce the board members. They've been so supportive of this district of Creston High School. I would ask that they stand, please. Dr. Tony Baker, Dr. Monica Randos, Mr. John O'Connor, Mr. Raynard Ross, Mrs. Maureen Slade, Mrs. Sunita Lanier, and our board president, Dr. Wendy Falk. I would also like to thank my executive cabinet members that are here this afternoon with us. They've also worked very hard to make this a memorable day for you. To the class of 2013, you know, words just cannot express all that you've accomplished and all that you will accomplish. This is the beginning of a journey. I want you to know that everything that you need to be successful in life, you have within you. You take it with you when you leave the Grand Rapids Public Schools. I want you to always remember that you are a member of this family, and no matter where you go, I want you to look for other Grand Rapids Public School graduates. Look for those alumni members. They're all over this world. And when you come back, when you have the opportunity to reach back and help someone, you do that. Pay it forward. Again, be all that you can be, all that you can be. Concentrate on which road you are going to travel. Remember, you are a polar bear for life. Congratulations.
Next, I would like to introduce the Executive Director of all high schools, Mr. Ron Gorman.
Good afternoon, Creston High School. We would like to begin by acknowledging some students who participated in the Superintendent's Advisory Council this year. We would like to recognize Raydell Bonneville. Raydell. And also Helen Kabede. Both of those individuals have given a tremendous amount of feedback to our superintendent on a monthly basis, and we really appreciate all of your hard work. Thank you, team. Parents and guardians, you are the reason that all of these individuals are in front of me today. You are the reason. Don't you forget that. Please, parents and guardians, treat this as a milestone. This is a very important day for our students. But treat this as a milestone, and please be a helicopter parent. And if you do not know what a helicopter parent is, it's a parent who continues to monitor his or her student's progress long after today. So please do that. The teachers at Creston High School, thank you so much for having high expectations for our students. Thank you so much for having positive relationships. Thank you so much for working those long hours. We don't stop working at 2:30. We work long into the evening, and we work on weekends, and we work in the summer. And thank you, teachers, for that. We appreciate it. Creston team, you mean so much to our students, but you mean so much to me also. I appreciated the work we did in 4 years, and I'll always be thankful for everything you've done for Creston High School, so thank you, teachers, again. To our students, I have to just share one story, okay? We had our senior field day this year, and a couple of schools got there before you, and I know I'm probably going to get in trouble for this because this is taped, and you will see me in different colors if you watch the tape. I was in red this morning for Union, okay? I'm wearing my Creston colors right now, so I know I'll get in trouble. But at senior field day, 2 schools got there before you, and they were really excited. They were really excited. And then I heard this tremendous roar, okay? And I looked up, and all I saw was a Creston flag. That's all I saw. And needless to say, we knew you were coming, and we knew you were going to win, and you did. The most school spirit, Creston High School. It has truly been an honor, parents, students, to be a small part of your students' lives. It has truly been an honor. And although I did not graduate from Creston, I did spend 4 years there, and that's as long as I spent in my high school. So I'm a polar bear also. And thank you so much for everything you've done, students. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the administration at Creston High School. So could you please stand? Miss Patricia Reagan, please stand. Mr. Dennis Branson, please stand. Mr. Nathaniel Moody, please stand. And Mr. Justin Walker, please stand. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to thank Mr. Larry Johnson and his security team for working so hard to make this a special event. Also, Ms. Sandy Harvey and Ms. Enika Zwiris for also putting all of this together, decorating the stage, making it a wonderful day for us. Give them a nice round of applause. Our next speaker, about 1.5 years ago, our superintendent showed me an organizational chart. And on that organizational chart, there was one space that didn't have a name. And it was the Executive Director of High Schools and Alternative Education. I was so very honored to take that position for our superintendent, but I had a lot of questions after that. And I said, Superintendent Neal, or T as I call her, what about Creston? And she said, Mr. Gorman, what do you think? And I said, there's only one person to run Creston if I leave, and that gentleman is behind me, Mr. Troy Wilbon. Mr. Wilbon and I started out at Aquinas College together. Mr. Wilbon and I met up again at Central High School, and Mr. Wilbon and I were on the same team at Creston High School. I am so happy and honored to present to you a 9-year veteran of the Grand Rapids Public Schools, Mr. Troy Wilbon, your principal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Parents, family members, teachers, friends, I'd like to thank you for attending this exciting ceremony. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge 2 individuals who made this day possible. First, our senior class advisor, Ms. Brenda Cook, and our head secretary, Ms. Deborah Macy. I would also like to thank all our teachers. I know this has been a year filled of many ups and downs, but I appreciate the professionalism you displayed every day. Thank you. I would also like to thank the following individuals for their long hours and continued support for our students. They already been introduced, but I'll do it again. Mrs. Patricia Reagan, Mr. Dennis Branson, Mr. Nathaniel Moody, and Mr. Justin Walker. Next, I would like to acknowledge our counseling staff, which I feel is one of the best counseling staff, not just in GRPS, but in the state. The first person that I want to acknowledge is our lead counselor. Anytime I go to her, she always has the answer. She's on point, Miss Maya Frazier. Also, Miss Nina Perko, and I can't forget Miss Kara Suggs and Terry Swansea. During the school day, there's a lot of components to which the building is operated, and we get tremendous support from many individuals. I would also like to acknowledge Mr. Larry Johnson, our Director of School Safety, the entire security staff at Creston High School, but also a polar bear, Miss Sergeant Janelle Carter. I would also like to thank the GRAPSEP staff led by Mr. Phil Mordyke, all the cabinet members, our Board of Education members, and last but not least, Mr. Gorman, excuse me. Not just our director, excuse me. But also a mentor. And I could not forget our superintendent, who I totally respect, and I'm honored that she put me in the position that I am. A polar bear, our superintendent, Ms. Teresa Weather O'Neill. I'm gonna make it through, I promise. Class of 2013. 4 years ago, I was in a different role at Creston High School. Back then, my main responsibility was student of discipline. Some of you even spent many hours in my office. And let's be honest, I probably wasn't your best friend. Now that I'm in a different role as your head principal, and you are in a different place, a graduate at the Creston High School, our relationship has changed considerably. Instead of participating in nuisance behaviors, you are now advocating for your fellow students. Instead of complaining about too much homework, you are now preparing yourselves for college. Instead of being followers, you are now leaders. I would like to thank each of you for your leadership you have shown this year. You have grown into young men and young women. As freshmen, excuse me. Anyone have a pen? I'm not taking the Kleenex. I would like to thank each of you for your leadership you have shown this year. You have grown to young men and young women. As freshmen, you heard about different classes that came before you. You heard about upperclassmen at Creston receiving many awards, Gates Millennium Scholars, classes making AYP, and 4 years ago, these were all things you heard about. And 4 years later, these are the things you have accomplished. We have a Gates Millennium winner in our class. Your class made AYP. We sent a DECA team to nationals. And we have earned over $4 million in scholarships. And as a side note, just a side note, the class of 2013 won the GRPS Superintendent Senior Field Day for the second year in a row. In 2013, I've met a lot of senior classes during my time in Grand Rapids Public Schools, but no senior class compares to my first senior class, the class of 2013. Again, I would like to thank all of you for your leadership and your hard work during this course, during this year. At this time that we mentioned earlier, we wanted to make sure that we introduce the valedictorian. This year's class of 2013 valedictorian is Kalab Memo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to Superintendent Wezir Neal, the Board of Education, distinguished administration and faculty, parents, families, friends, and my fellow classmates. I would like to welcome you all for Creston's 87th and last commencement. The first commencement was held in 1927, and today is a very prideful, momentous, and memorable day for all of us here. I would first like to inform you that I came to the US on October 15th in 2009. I could not speak English at all back then, yet ironically enough, I began freshman year here at Creston 2 days after my arrival to the US. That means on October 17th of 2009. And as many of you here know, I've had serious trouble in freshman year trying to understand a new culture, a new education system, and trying to also speak the English language. Sometimes it would even seem to me a wonder how I quickly was able to speak English and how I got accustomed to the education system. I would admit that that was hard at first, but years passed and I've showed drastic improvement in academics and fluency and mastery of the English language. And I think it would be fair to say that it is all thanks to everyone that I have encountered, both abroad and at school, that you and I here are celebrating this moment. It is also my greatest of all honor to thank you all of your presence here with the graduation class of 2013. I'd first like to thank the entire faculty of Creston of their great dedication towards their students. I'd like to specify a few names. I'll start by Ms. Cook, Mr. Patrick, Mr. Young, Mr. Fowler, Mr. Lyons, Mr. Rundell, Ms. Goosen, Ms. Nozell, and Ms. Fraser. The names that I have mentioned are staff members present here with us, and I met them all during my freshman year. I have since evolved in great familiarization of their help and aid. And had it not been for these specific individuals, perhaps I might not be here today in front of you and addressing my valedictory speech, as well as speaking the English language. I would also like to thank our parents present here with us, and due to special requests of Ms. Fraser, I shall take my own parents in the language they best understand, Amharic. So you'll see some Amharic here. Quote. እናትና አባቴን በጣም እጅግ አመሰግናለሁ እንዲሁም መላው ቤተሰቤን እንዳለ I just said thank you to my parents and my entire family globally in Amharic. And finally, I would like to address the senior class of Creston and personally thank them for being great friends, marvelous friends and comrades during these 4 years. But today, I'd rather focus a speech on awareness rather than on goodbye. A goodbye by its own would leave all of us here tearful, but hope for the future and recognition would empower us all to do the best of our capacity now and for years to come. While you should all ask to obtain a 4.0 instead of a 3.9, an A- than an A, or a 99 than 100. And although all grade levels that I have mentioned might be of equal importance to many, including institutions nationwide and global-wide, essentiality should not be focused on simplicity and pettiness. Pettiness, an act of which an individual might think sufficient at average level and not personal best. So I'm here to tell you, I am present here telling you to do the best of your capacity, of your capability, now and in years to come. But why? And the reason I will specify. All of us here have the luck of the Irish. We're all given a massive opportunity. I'd like to address you all that the simple fact of our presence in this great nation is very illustrative of our unending potential, perhaps even well after we were gone, so even 1,000 years to come. Some or most of us here would have influence over the next generations. I could mention Baudelaire or La Fontaine as prime exemplars, whose works and demonstrations still are regarded in greatness today. But these individuals predated Renaissance France. Our presence at this time would even give us a better opportunity to shine in the near and far future. We have access to higher education. Most of us here are recipients of many scholarships and awards for colleges. Sorry. Also, comparing our opportunity with the rest of the world, we have freedom and a constitution. Our rights allow us to dare dream and of whatever dream we desire. But the dream will come true through hard work, commitments, and perseverance. Also, I'd briefly like to point out that for the sake of the global world, let us all work in intensity, challenge, and let us all prepare ourselves to serve the many miserable across the world. I have seen children on the streets of Ethiopia, hungry, starved, and thirsty. When I wake up every day, my thoughts are with the many miserable in the globe. Such elevated awareness is responsible in leading my actions now and in years to come. I have plans, as little as it might be, to make contributions and finally get involved in my fair shared responsibility in solving the many atrocities across the globe. I am very pleased to invite the entire class of 2013 and this long journey, unachieved yet, but shall one day be, the solving of the many atrocities on earth. I'd like to end my speech in reference to Jean de La Fontaine, a fabulist in Renaissance France. This quote that I'm about to mention is the moral foundation of La Fontaine's Le Charlatan, from Book 6, the 19th fable, and you'll hear some French too. Quote, c'est folie de compter sur 10 ans de vie, soyons bien buvants, bien mangeants, nous devons à la mort de 3 l'un dans 10 ans. In English, they are greatly wrong who build upon a lease of life too long. Let's eat and drink, some merry trio cries. But in 10 years, one of the trio dies. And I would like to specify that although we, the graduating class of 2013, are heading in this long, seemingly unachievable, perhaps a very difficult journey, let us all work, let us all live the happiest lives to come, normal, sane, and humane lives with intensity and challenge followed. Thank you.
Everyone, class of 2013, I would like to introduce at this time the salutatorian, Mallory Robinson.
First off, I'd like to say welcome to the parents, the teachers, the staff, security, everyone, friends and family, and my classmates. As a freshman entering high school, everyone at some point in time tells us how important our freshman year is and how imperative it is to start off on a good note. When I was a freshman, from the second I walked through the doors, I was ready to graduate. And I would always tell myself, in 4 years, I'm out of here. In 4 years, I'm grown up, and that's when the fun really starts. With that being said, I consumed myself with school and homework and sports, and I forgot that what all high school had to offer. Today, my words would mean nothing, and this speech would be pointless if I would remain to be the same person I was freshman year. This moment isn't just about those Mr. Lyons papers half of us stayed up doing the night before to finish, or the countless math assignments we did 30 minutes before they were due, because 15 years from now, those lectures will be fragments, and those math assignments will be non-existent. What will remain are the pep assemblies we played tug of war at, or the staff versus student dodgeball games, seeing teachers dance at prom and swirl, or celebrating with your fellow classmates after a victory. Creston High School, whether some of us want to accept it or not, has been a main factor in shaping who we all are today. Ever since freshman year, our school has been stuck with a stigma, and for a brief second and moment in time, I was ashamed of where I belonged. But here's where I learned to be proud of who I am, to embrace my surroundings, and make the best of any situation. Here's where we all made mistakes and learned to keep going, where we fought for what we loved and laughed through hard times. Creston is our home. It will forever be for the fact that we carry the memories with us. Memories that no sign or building can take away. If there's one thing that I could leave my fellow classmates with today, it would be that no matter what your next step is in life, if it's your passion, if it's your dream, if you follow it and try your best, something good has to come out of it. Because it's the journey we take, the people we meet, the obstacles we overcome that make us who we are. Lastly, I would like to thank my parents, Christine and James Robinson, for always encouraging me and pushing me to do my best. Even at times when I didn't even believe in myself, you were there even when I had an attitude. I would not be here today if it weren't for your support, strength, and love. I would like to thank Ms. Frazier for always being there. Oh, I'm sorry. I would like to thank Ms. Frazier for always being there through all the college preparations. Most importantly, I would like to thank Creston as a whole, the staff that made me laugh on the bad days, the security officers for their tough love, to all those who gave me food when I was hungry, my friends that would stay up till me 12 o'clock at night finishing projects and assignments. I'm the person I am today because of all of you. And that's something that a book and all the books in the world cannot do for me. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to introduce the 2013 class president, Mr. Raydale Bonneville.
I ain't about to cry or nothing like that, so. No, but the class of 2013, Board of Education, Superintendent Ms. Teresa Neal, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Larry Johnson, the Creston staff and administration, and last but not least, the families and friends who came out to celebrate this day with us. Welcome. Class of 2013. We officially got the right to say that we just started from the bottom, now we're here, right? You have chosen me as your last president of Creston, and I'm more than honored to stand up here and celebrate all our success. We started this journey only 4 years ago, and yet it's already coming to an end. It seemed like yesterday we were trying to find our lockers and figure out our combinations. A lot of people say that graduation is the most meaningful and most memorable part of our lives. I guess that's why when we ask to give speeches like this, we should make it significant and unforgettable. With that being said, I want to point out a few accomplishments that took place, such as having a Gates Millennium Scholar, receiving over $4 million in scholarships, being successful in our robotics competition, having our DECA chapter make it to internationals, and finally taking home the trophy for the second year in a row for the Superintendent's Field Day. I want to give thanks to the entire senior body for making it to this point, and I take my hat off to those who helped us get here, because without the support from the staff and families, this road would have been much more difficult, so I thank you all. Even though we are leaving Creston, it is safe to say that the last graduating class of Creston High School will be remembered. The question now is, where do we go from here? You know, the great Wale Forlorn once said, "It's easy to dream a dream, though it's harder to live it." Well, 4 years ago, we all had dreams of making it to this point. Y'all notice where we are, right? So it is possible. We are now beginning a new chapter in our lives that will include failure, success, personal growth, and I hope much excitement. Our families, teachers, advocates, whatever the case may be, helped us get to this point, but now it's on us to keep moving forward. Whether you're going to college, the military, or straight to the workforce, remember it's on you to turn your dreams into reality. One thing high school should have shown us is that we will fail. It's just nature. But nobody ever said that we wasn't going to see success in those failed attempts. Believe in yourself and remember that failure is part of the process of success. At this time, I'd like to thank Mr. Wilbon for making this last year great for us. I want to thank Mr. Gormer for everything, even though he was gone for a year. You really made a huge impact on me personally, as well as the entire senior class. Your leadership and support of us means so much, so on behalf of myself and the class of 2013, we thank you. I want to thank Superintendent Ms. Teresa Neal for being with us as well as we finish out our last year. I thank my mom, Dolores Anderson, for being a mother and father to me and showing me how to become who I am today. I give thanks to the Creston staff for teaching us things outside of what we learn inside the classrooms. Thank you to Ms. Cook for allowing me to grow as a leader and for showing me what it's like to take on that leadership role. I want to give a special shout out to security for being there not only for emergency situations, but they're just for us in general. Also, I want to thank Ms. Frazier for keeping me on track and making sure my focus is on things that I needed versus what I wanted. Again, congratulations to us, the final, the greatest class to graduate from Creston High School, the class of 2013. Thank you. At this time, the class valedictorian and salutatorian will present the torch of knowledge.
The class of 2013 passes on the torch of knowledge to the class of 2014 so that you will continue the Creston tradition of academic excellence.
The class of 2014 accepts the torch of knowledge with its tradition from the class of 2013.
Thank you. I'm Brenda Cook. I am the senior class advisor for the class of 2013. I am so honored to have taken this journey with you, and it has been my pleasure and my honor to be your advisor this year. I love you all. I know there's great things ahead of you, and I'm going to not get emotional, so with that said, we are going to start the fun part. Will the top 10 seniors please rise and come to the stage? Kalab Sahay Mamo. Mallory Courtney Robinson. Jamila Yasmin Fields. Anna Myra Arivzu Mata. Creston Shauna K. Sade Stewart. Shayla Dean Robinson. David. Slow down. Leah Tanea Woods. Deja Nicole Danae O'Neill. Jasmine Simone Jones. Thomas John DeBoer III. Raydell Shemaine Bonneville Jr. You may be seated. Will the second row please rise and come to the stage? Nicholas August Kemp. Jamari Jaquan Key. Shamari Laquan Key. DeAndre Eugene Kirk. Maisha Stanshay Kirkman. Joseph Daniel Laponzi. Braulio Lara. David Anthony Wayne Lee. Deasia Monet Ingram. Kalia Moray Hudson Anderson. Caleb Amir Howard. Jalen Jerome Houston. Shatia Marie Holt. Taisha Irene LaFay Hibbler. Angelica Ray Heidenfeld. Raven Elaine Haywood. Second row, you may be seated. Third row, please rise and come to the stage. Evelina Jean Libet. Donald Sancho Lofton. Wait. Capone Antoine Maiden. Shantice Tanae Malik Legrone. Terrell Jabbar Mays. Ashley Tatiana McGee. Mecca Giara Milton. Michael Joseph Miskey. Lacal Linshay Jones. Keontae Edward Jones. Kayla Marie Jones. Amani Tari Jones Spotsville. Walter Jameer Johnson. Marvin Juwan Johnson. Derek Dwayne Johnson Jr. Jermaine Clifford Jennings Jr. Third row, you may be seated. Fourth row, please rise and come to the stage.
Angelica Elmira Moore. Alan James Morris. Angela K.C. Morris. Kishari Caprice Ligiana Morrison. Farad Mohammed. Brittany Marie Nickerson. Stephanie Marie Pacheco. Sharkia Alize Parrish. Christiana Parker. Gabrielle Marcus Campbell. Malik Janae Calvert. Jason Michael Bursley. Edmund Cornelius Buchanan. Tahari Lamont Greg Braggs. Jordan Elizabeth Bogus. Dave Stephen Benoit. Marquita Latrice Banks. Helen Tadella Cabede. And if the fourth row would please be seated. And may the fifth row rise and please come forward. Shante Alia Purdue. Joshua Fernando Pichardo. Beatrice Elise Powers. Bridget Cheyenne Richardson. Christian Joel Rivera Torres. Yasmin Lynn Robinson. Elijah Rodriguez. Sophie Cecilia Rodriguez. Abdullahi Mohammed Salat. Michael William Sapanic. Felicia Marie Smith. Kaylin Janelle Donnelly. Taniqua Makia Davis. Kyrie Bilal Davis. Atia Janae Cook. Kendrell Pendris Clark. Mark Linnell Chandler II. Marcus Cavazos. Melvin Stephen Castillo. Leslie Monique Carroll. Brianna Lakata Carter. Kevin Jawan Carter. The fifth row may be seated, please. And the sixth row, please rise and come forward. Gerardo Sosa Parada. Diamond La Pearl St. Clair. Daniel Deasia Stewart. Hope Elizabeth Vanderboss. DeAndrea LaFerrell Vick. Javante Lamont Walker. Talia Lynn Walker. Sarion Abane Ward. Scott Maurice Weekly II. Shavonna Lachey Wilson. Valentina Renee Ewing. Kevin Aaron Faber. Ariel Nicole Williams. Kayla Lene Tatiana Charisse White. Isaiah Mikali Lee Watson. Let's get going. Ashley Catherine Ward. Daisha Lee Victory. Deborah Joy Verdine. DeJounte Malik Turnbull.
Sandra or Sandra?
Sandra Nicole Jashay Eppinger. Thomas Andrew Eaton III. Anthony Jaleel Easley. Dequila Monet Foster. Caroline Natalie Garcia. Nikesha Marie Haight. Sam Freeman Jr.
All of them.
This sixth row may be seated, please. We welcome once again our principal, Mr. Troy Wilbon.
Everyone, today I present to you 124 candidates for graduation. As principal of Creston High School, I certify that all candidates who will be receiving diplomas have met or exceeded all the requirements as set forth by Grand Rapids Public Schools Board of Education and the state of Michigan. At this time, I introduce a board member, but also a former polar bear. Still a polar bear, Miss Sanita Lanier.
Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Education, faculty, and staff of the Grand Rapids Public Schools, it is my honor to accept the graduating class of 2013 for Creston High School. And with the power invested in the Board of Education by the state of Michigan, I hereby confer diplomas on each. Graduates, can you please stand? Graduates, at this time, please take your tassels and move them from the right to the left. Congratulations, class of 2013.
Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We ask that you please remain seated and allow all the graduates and faculty to exit the auditorium before you leave the auditorium. At this time, we will have all the guests on the stage exit, then the students, and followed by staff. Again, I ask that all parents, guardians, please remain seated till all graduates have left the auditorium.